All right, so let's jump right into it. We're going to talk about something you've probably used 100 times without even thinking about it, the eco-friendly straw. You grab one, you feel pretty good about it, right? You're choosing the biodegradable option. But what we're about to find out is that the real story, well, it's way more complicated and honestly a lot more surprising than you'd ever guess. So let's just get right to the heart of it. I mean, think about it. You've seen all the headlines, the plastic bans are happening, and you make a conscious choice to grab that green alternative. But is it actually making the difference you think it is? The answer, as you're about to see, is not a simple yes or no. And it really forces us to ask what eco-friendly even means in the first place. You know, to really get why this little straw is such a big deal, we have to zoom way out for a second. The reality is we're dealing with a colossal, global problem, plastic pollution. I mean, it is everywhere. It's choking our ecosystems, and it's putting this incredible pressure on businesses to figure out how to dig themselves out from under this mountain of single-use plastic. And this pressure, it's coming from all sides. You've got huge government moves like the EU's big directive against single-use plastics. You've got everyday people, consumers like us, who are demanding better, greener options. And then there's the really scary stuff, the race to stop microplastics from poisoning our oceans and marine life. So with all that going on, the world is desperately searching for a hero. And then, right on cue, it looks like a hero has arrived, the biodegradable straw. It's often made from something called polylactic acid, or PLA for short, which comes from renewable things like cornstarch. It looks and feels just like plastic. It seems absolutely perfect. A simple, guilt-free switch. So, problem solved, yeah? Not so fast. Okay, so let's pause right here, because this is the crucial turning point. It all comes down to this one single word, biodegradable. It sounds so simple, so positive, right? But what it technically means, well, that's the key that unlocks this whole mystery. So here's the catch. For a lot of these bioplastics, especially the really common one, PLA, biodegradable does not mean you can just toss it in your backyard compost or that it'll disappear in the ocean. No way. It means it can only break down in a very specific place, an industrial composting facility. And it needs a very specific recipe. Think sustained high heat of around 60 degrees Celsius or 140 Fahrenheit, plus a whole bunch of very specific microbes doing all the work. And this is where the whole thing falls apart. It's a tale of two completely different fates. If that PLA straw, by some miracle, makes it to the right industrial facility, awesome. It'll be gone in a few months. But if it ends up where most of our trash actually goes, the ocean, a landfill, well, none of that heat or those special microbes are there. So it just sits there for maybe hundreds of years, acting almost exactly like the petroleum-based plastic we were trying to avoid in the first place. This right here is a textbook example of something called greenwashing. You've got a product that's sold to us as this amazing green solution. But in reality, the special system needed to dispose of it properly, those industrial composters, barely exist for most of us. So it's basically an environmental promise that's broken the second the straw gets thrown in the wrong bin. Okay, this chart really lays it all out, clear as day. Let's look at the lineup. Find the PLA bioplastic column. See that? Under biodegradability, you've got this giant catch, this huge asterisk. Industrial composting only. Now compare that to something like PHA, which actually is marine and soil degradable. Or even just paper. Yeah, it gets soggy, we all know that, but at least it breaks down without needing a special high-tech facility. All right, so it's not all doom and gloom. Now that we've kind of exposed the flaw in our so-called hero, we can start to look for the real solutions. I'm talking about materials that are actually designed to work in the messy real world, not just in some perfect controlled lab environment. And here are some of the real contenders. First up, you've got PHA. This stuff is a potential game changer because it's actually certified to break down in the ocean and in soil. Then there's cool new stuff like CDA, which is a foam that degrades super fast in seawater. And hey, don't count out paper just yet. New innovations are making them way more durable. The point is, these are the materials that actually tackle the problem where it's happening. And you should know this isn't some tiny niche market we're talking about. The demand for truly eco-friendly straws is just exploding. We're talking a projected annual growth rate of more than 22%. That's a massive economic shift. And the companies that figure this out, the ones that get it right, they are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. And really, at the end of the day, this was never just about the straw. The humble straw is just a perfect stand-in for a much, much bigger idea. It's about the huge difference between feeling like you're doing something good for the planet and actually doing something good. It's about learning to see past the marketing buzzwords to find what's real. So what's the takeaway here? It really boils down to a simple 3-step playbook you can use for anything. First, you have to scrutinize the materials. Just dig a little deeper than the buzzwords. Second, demand proof. Look for legitimate certifications that back up the claims. And third, be a realist about disposal. Is there actually a system in place where you live to handle this thing properly? And this doesn't just go for straws. It's for coffee cups, takeout containers, you name it. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. If something as simple and everyday as a drinking straw is this complicated, with so much hiding behind one little word, what other green choices in your life might deserve a second, closer look? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.